hours.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question.
I think just study the subject more, not through A&E documentary.
No, that's just American propaganda.
It's retarded. The whole point.
It's American propaganda. Yeah, I agree. It's American propaganda.
British propaganda. That's what it is.
It doesn't matter. It's still American propaganda, and Americans hold the noose around Britain's throat.
You just said it was in the Empire's interest to fight Germany, which
no. I'm just going to mute you, and if we're talking now, I'm going to mute you so I can put it.
You have to mute because what you said
the
doesn't
idea
make sense.
that you would want a hostile, united Germany at your door, and Hitler was never going to have an independent Britain on his shores. The British believed that they could fight them out. And I'm going to outright say it. I think the British and the Soviets would have eventually been able to defeat the Nazis because the Nazis weren't actually in a very good position. Even if the Americans didn't join the war in Europe, by the time that American troops got on England, for example, the Blitz already ended. They wasted their entire air force trying to take
we know
a
the
dream,
high
which was
school.
to destroy the British war-making capability. They just didn't have the resources or the industrial capacity to invade Britain. And by the time D-Day happened, the Soviets already pushed out the Nazis out of Eastern Europe.
We know the high school textbook version that you're spewing. Everybody knows it. But what you said before, it's in British interest to do this, so it was in British interest to destroy their currency and ruin their empire. So that doesn't even make sense.
Their empire wasn't ruined. What ruined them was the war debts. But that was going to happen no matter what, because Hitler wanted reparations from the British anyways. So they were in a hard position anyways.
Where did you ever hear that from? He wanted reparations from Britain? What are you even talking about, dude?
Hey,
you're just making stuff up on the fly.
All you're doing is just it just feels like you're saying this out of a well-meaning but foolish.
You're just doing a high school history textbook.
No, I'm not a high school. I don't believe American propaganda.
No, you're just talking
hold on, I gotta mute Jay so I can listen to Quintessence. Okay, what's up?
Exactly.
Well, I just wanted to say, have you ever heard of the Holodomor?
Yeah, of course.
Or Europa?
Of course.
I mean, it's just kind of weird to me. I don't know what side of it you're on, but they would never tell us about or bring up the 17 million?
It wasn't 17 million.
The 17 million Germans killed throughout the war and after the war.
What? That wasn't the Holodomor.
It was Ukrainian.
Yeah, it was.
No, that wasn't the Holodomor. What are you talking about? The Holodomor was Slavs.
What? Slavs?
This guy doesn't know anything.
What the fuck are you talking about? Germans.
It was they starved the Ukrainians. They cut off their crops.
Well, what I'm talking about, what I have been describing in Europa, the documentary as the Holodomor, is the Germans getting their ass kicked and trying to make peace the entire time, basically, and then a bunch of lies made up about them by the Jewish publicists who owned the newspapers at the time.
I'm just more shocked that you mistook the Holodomor for the Germans being ethnically displaced.
Well, I mean, that's what it was described to me as. Go watch Europa, and I mean, we could share ideas again at that point.
Well, no, I guarantee you the Holodomor was not what you're talking about. The Holodomor was a famine in Eastern Europe that killed off a few million people.
Well, there's a lot of revisionist history. It's more likely it was 10 million people.
Yeah, well, it's just how they never talk about the Bengal famine, which Churchill was perfectly fine with because the Indians were a colonial possession. It's there. I was able to read that shit in college and high school.
You never got past high school history. What are you saying?
Yeah, thank you, Red Tape. I just had a quick question. Do you think there's any link between the belief in evolution and Hitler's belief in his racist superiority?
It's kind of secondary. He used it as like a what's the like an addition to the argument, but like because I wouldn't say it was because of evolution, but he
Okay.
used it as a talking point.
Okay. I'm sure it was.
Because like
Yeah.
even before evolution, like there was like this big anti-Slavic racism within Germany, even before like the theory of evolution came around. Like if you go to like back to like the 17th and 18th century, like you know what the Prussians were, right? The kingdom that united Germany for the second time.
Yeah, I'm slightly familiar with them. Yeah, the Prussians. Thank you.
Because they did the same thing even before evolution when they talked about like Poles, because they were colonizing the Polish people, like like seizing their land, killing them, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like it always existed.
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, a Christian pastor mentioned that even Moses was taught about evolution, that they came from the slime of the Nile. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but
What?
it is a belief.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't think that's.
yeah, I haven't seen evidence of that myself, but that's something I'm gonna have to explore. But thankfully, I do believe the Hebrews were revealed the truth about creation, just like they were given the Ten Commandments. So, but yeah, feel free to check. I'm sure you've looked into evolution as well over past few years.
Yeah, but it's not really something I'm concerned about.
Okay, thank you. Oh, just before I let you go, because I'm not sure if we'll ever chat again, do you believe in heaven, if you don't mind me asking? And if it is way better than you can imagine right now, would you want to go?
I'm a agnostic. I don't really have a position on it.
Okay. Well, at least you haven't closed your mind to it. I'm impressed. So I just want to let you know you are invited, and the Bible tells you explicitly how you can make it there. And yeah, thanks for your time.
Someone mentioned something about the slime of the Nile. I was thinking of the minerals that are in this silt, are the same minerals that would be in the human body.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Same with the seawater. How many minerals in seawater? And I think, is it 100? 90 plus?
I mean, the thing about the Holodomor is that a lot of the people in the Bolshevik government were the same people that Germany didn't really like.
Oh yeah, they did not like Slavs. They didn't like Ukrainians. They didn't like Belarusians. They didn't like Russians.
Well,
Like,
no, what I'm talking about is the Bolshevik Revolution was mostly Jewish.
they had a majority. Not a majority, even like a there were a lot of Jews in the Bolsheviks, though, but it would make sense because they did not like the czars. Like most of the revolutionary groups did not like the czars. At a certain like I could make like reasons why they would be in there, but like the Bolsheviks themselves were like all kinds of like different like ethnic minorities or people subjugated by the Russian Empire.
Maybe if you had the Great Flood and there were people that had to go to high elevation to stop. And there were people living in high elevation, and when it dried up, there were people that lived in the lowland and people lived in the highland. The highland was called the bailiff, and the lowland was called the. So maybe it was a hierarchy.
Well, I wanted to say about the Bolshevik Revolution, all the commanders of that, like whenever the communists took over, they were all these Jewish commanders. Like,
Well,
and then
it would make it would.
Churchill had his two. Churchill also had his two Jewish advisors. He was a raging alcoholic.
Well, hold
Yeah,
on.
like what again with the Bengals thing, you know.
I can name several Red Army commanders during the Revolution who were not Jewish.
It was a specific. I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure that they were either Jewish or related or something. But
Like there was a
I haven't.
few that I would that were Jewish, like Trotsky. Trotsky was definitely a Jew, but like it would make sense because like for one, like they were all like lower class ones. Like it wasn't like very wealthy Jews in like the Russian Empire who were fighting the Tsar, right? Like these were like poor people who, as a also uh, the wealthier Jewish people lived in Western Europe, and like for centuries, like the much more poorer ones lived in like Eastern Europe, like in Ukraine and Poland, and they had very good reasons not to like the Tsar.
Yeah.
Like it was more a matter of survival. Like no one who wasn't like an upper class Russian really like supported the monarchy, like even during the revolution. And even if there was like this internationalist conspiracy to like make sure that the Soviets won, I would point out that not only did like the Entente, the victorious World War One alliance, blockaded the Soviet Union and also sent troops to support like the white faction in Russia during the Civil War. Like they sent soldiers to like support the loyalists during the revolution.
What I think is funny is that the British and Americans said, we'll just let Russia, we'll team up with Russia, and then they all defeat the Germans, but then they have to deal with Russia afterwards because
Well,
they thought they
like
chose the lesser of two devils, I guess.
it made sense at the time. Like the at most the Soviets got like the poorer, shittier parts of Europe, while the West still retained like the industrialized nations. And like you got to remember, like Poland and Eastern Germany were the shittier parts of the country. Like they didn't gain that much.
Kind of back up if they were messing around with some kind of
Yep.
I don't know, but artificial sun, who knows?
Yeah, there's definitely at least one known active volcano. If I'm not mistaken, there was reports of at least 90 plus volcanoes in Antarctica.
Good information to know if you're considering it. Definitely.
Yeah, I asked the guys, Jaren and Austin, if they saw the volcano while they were approaching. They didn't. They didn't see it. So I guess they were far away.
They were either far away or they didn't actually go to Antarctica and they brought them somewhere else where they could fake a fake sun.
Yeah. I have a hard time believing that the US government and the UK government would freely give the world the most accurate map. That's just my opinion.
What map are you talking about? The AE map or the one the military's use?
Yeah, even the AE or the one on the UN. I have a hard time believing that's 100% accurate. The layout.
Sure. Yeah. It does definitely pose some problems with the sun.
Yeah, definitely. Have you guys seen the similarities between the human eye and the flat Earth biblical model? So if you look at the human eye, which most people wouldn't sell even for $1 billion, I ask people, would you sell both eyes right now for $1 billion? Most people say no. And if you look at the human eye, you've got the sclera, which is the white part of the eye, that's the ice wall. And then you've got the iris, which comes in primarily three colors: green for vegetation, brown for earth, blue for water. And black is the center. That's you, the pupil, the center of God's creation. Also representative of the black magnetic mountain at the center of the plane. And the cornea is the dome, is the firmament. And we've got tears as the salty, our salty tears as the water. And when we blink, that's the evening, I suppose. And then if you look at our human face, our nose, I believe, represents the North Pole magnetic mountain underneath Polaris. And I remember Jaron on a stream, like at least 5 years ago, he was reading a report from the North Pole. They were saying it was a black magnetic mountain, and it was so powerful it was pulling the nails from the boat. And he also said that there was two water vortices that changed direction I think it was every 12 hours. And that reminded me of the nostrils. So maybe that the Earth is breathing in and out, and that's the true cause of the tide.
I agree with the
Yeah.
tide thing. I always thought the four rivers in the north kind of pulsing in and out made hell of a lot more sense than a rock that levitates in the sky and pulls water to it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when we don't see that effect on the Great Lakes.
I mean, there's the theory that the Earth is actually alive, and just like we have cells in our body, the Earth is one big organism, and each person is an individual cell.
Well,
Yeah.
if you look at it like a machine, I always said the star forts are the drains, like the walls. The walls keep the debris back, and when you have big floods, the star forts are the drains, because most of them are on like the waterfront. And everybody's looking at star forts like, what the hell are these things? What the frick are these things? They turn them into forts, obviously, but they turn them into military things mostly. But if they were drains, you've got to keep all the debris back. And how would you do that with freaking huge walls? It's just a thought that I came up with a few years back.
Nice. Thanks for sharing.
It would be an isosceles, the one with two of the same sides.
Yeah. symmetrical if you were to fold it in half.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be thin. It'd be a thin triangle.
Yeah.
There's a name for that. Anyways, so now we got our two plumb lines. Those two plumb lines have to be leaning away from each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
If it was a globe, they have to be leaning away from each other. So what you do is you get your theodolite, you take an angle to the bottom, an angle to the top, and bang, see what you got.
Interesting. Thank you.
That's a good one. That's an optical. I don't like the optical stuff, but that's a pretty good one. You'd have to check it from different heights too, because there's different. Like I would measure that from ground level, and then I would go segments of the way up. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the drones are a big plumb line. You're on the ground. You make the measurement. You go up 50 feet, make another measurement, 150 feet, make another measurement, and just keep checking them the whole way up to make sure you're looking for consistency to know so there's no like weird optical shit going on. You also are changing your angle depending on what it is, because it doesn't matter. You just want to take readings like at a few points at least going up.
Yeah, definitely. I see Robert's
That's a
back.
good
Welcome,
one.
Robert.
Yeah,
What's up?
welcome everyone.
Welcome back, Robert.
Yeah, man. Bless up, to the flat Earth community. It's very difficult to train them on how science works, but we
Anyways,
Yeah, thanks for the comedy.
anyways, yeah, those are two decent ways to try to measure this tilt thing going on. I got some more.
Nice.
I got a couple more on my
Very
sleeve.
nice. Yeah. Feel free to share anytime, because I think it's great that we help each other, get each other up to speed. So if we're ever in a conversation, we're ready. But great job, Jeremy. Thanks for all you do, man.
Dude,
No
Jeremy,
doubt.
what do you think about this one? Maybe you've heard it before. Riggs was telling it to me the other day, and I had never heard of it before. You go to a salt flat, right? And you get a long cable or like high tension line or something like that, and you spread it out like, a mile or however long, and you put tensioners on the end of it, and in the middle of that string or that cable you put a scale, right? And so the idea is, if it's curved, the more you tension the line, it's pressing down on the scale and shows more weight. But if it's flat, it wouldn't show any weight change at all. Have you heard of this before?
Yeah, we actually have an excellent diagram for this. Some guy came up with this years ago. You have to have you would have to have like a metal stake in the ground with like eye hooks in it, because you need to be pulling from a certain height in order to make it work with the globe math to where it should be pressing down or not. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, no, we have this all mapped out. Maybe Geo or someone has White's word diagram. It was me and Brandon spent like a whole Sunday once going over the diagram, because I didn't get it for a while, but that's a fairly good one, because on a flat Earth, it wouldn't be pressing down if you're pulling tight, and there's specific heights and stuff for where on a globe Earth it would be pressing down if you were to pull tight on both ends. So it would
Yeah,
put more
dude,
weight.
I had
Put
never
more
even
weight on it.
heard I had never heard that ever, and I thought, holy shit, that's actually like a really good and probably pretty cheap way to like almost definitively do it. Like if you just have the line on the
That's
ground
not
or
bad. Yeah.
just
No,
off
that's
the
a good
ground
one.
a little bit, no matter what, if it's on a globe, when you pull it tighter, it's going to press down and increase the weight. And if you're on flat Earth, it's actually going to take the weight off. I
Like
mean,
you have
that's
a scale in the middle. See, I don't know though. There's a thing though, because it's going to be all the sag is going to be in the middle on a flat Earth. So that's where all the there's slight issues with that, but it's pretty good. I think it probably would work.
Yeah, but even if the sag's in the middle, like the more you tighten it, the less sag that there's going to be, right? And so, like on flat Earth, the more you tighten it, the less weight the scale would show. And on globe Earth, the more you tighten it, the more weight it would show. Like, even, I mean, just on that alone, the fact that flat Earth would show less weight and globe Earth would show more weight is enough to me.
Yeah, no, that was a pretty good one. Yeah, I was impressed with that one. White's Word came up with that like 4 years ago. So that was a neat one. There was some slight issues and stuff with it as always, but it did seem doable. That guy said he bought the line too for. He said he had like 10 miles. You got to go pretty far with it, but you may not have to have gone as far as he did. You could have adjusted the height. You have to pull it from a certain height for this to work on the globe. It's very specific. There's like a minimum and maximum height that you have to be at to start pulling them horizontally to really like key it in.
Yeah, I guess I don't really understand why that would matter. Like, it seems
I
like
didn't
you.
understand that either at first, and we haven't gone over this in so long. I don't really remember why the height was important, but it was crucial that you pulled these horizontally from a very specific height, depending on how long your thing was or whatever.
Yeah, Riggs said he had like diagrams on it. They're probably the diagrams that you're speaking of. But he said like they had calculated up the cost. He knew about how much it would cost. They had like figured it all out. And I'm thinking, well, how the hell have I never heard this before?
Yeah, because this was years ago. This was like 3 years. This came about in Brandon's, maybe. This was from Brandon's, so this was even before this server even got made.
I remember Brandon. Is he still in the realm of debates?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen him.
I was thinking about him the other day because Miggy had a crypto group and he was in it, and he probably did pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure you guys have seen the patent by Microsoft with the RFID implant linked to the crypto
No, I haven't seen it.
or the blockchain. Yeah, interestingly enough, it has a 666 in the patent number. So it's essentially, if you could just Google it, you just type in Microsoft patent 666 if you want, and then it should pull up the Google patent, and it describes an RFID biometric implant, and it's linked to the blockchain. So
I mean, bro,
it's
these guys all got biblical. Look at Apple. They got the bit in Apple.
oh yeah, definitely.
It was a patent where they try to use the energy of a human to mine Bitcoin or something like that. So they're basically using your DNA to mine Bitcoin.
Yeah, in the end times, the Bible, if I'm not mistaken, talks about implant or a mark on the wrist or the forehead linked to someone's purchasing power.
Well, you could use the thermal electricity from someone's body probably to do it. The heat we make. You could probably get electricity off that and use that.
Oh yeah.
Or
Um,
put a little turbine in a blood vessel or artery or something. I'm thinking of ways to get a renewable energy inside your body.
Yeah, the human
Little
body is
wind
just so
turbine, put a
complex.
mini wind turbine in your you know, in your lungs or your windpipe or something.
I mean, it's pretty satanic though, because that's probably the mark of the beast.
Yeah,
If you're mining Bitcoin with your own DNA, that's probably the mark. Because it says you will not be able to buy or sell if you do not have the mark.
that's right. And the Bible also mentioned not everyone's going to get it. But I think the vast majority will be either pressured or bullied into it.
Guys, is it okay if we unmute Robert? He's one of my favorite globe earthers.
Yeah, let's see if we can help him.
All right, man. You guys asked for it, so
You're awesome, Jeremy.
like he just comes out the gate just with a condescending like insult and shit. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe Robert,
I was
maybe
just
if you can
playing, man.
chat with us without having to go get personal, that'd
No,
be great.
I was just playing, man. Come on.
Okay.
We all do it, and they call me terrible, disgusting names, right? And I don't get upset, right? I was just playing, man. Jeremy, I mean,
That's good.
wow.
Thanks for trying to make us laugh.
Yeah, I was just bringing some levity to the conversation, man. That's all I was.
So, Robert, if you don't mind me asking, do you still believe in evolution is also?
I only believe in God.
Oh, okay, that's great.
I understand that evolution is indeed part of who we are. I understand it. It makes sense. But I don't believe in these. I don't believe in things.
Okay.
Faith is
Okay, thank you. Do you believe in? Okay. What about the idea of different races? Do you think there are different races of humans?
oh, absolutely. Because we develop differently because of the environment. So if you are closer to the equator, you're going to take on qualities that allows you to live well in that environment. If you are in the north, right, you're going to take on qualities that allows you to live in the north. So you're not going to need too much melanin in the north, right, versus the south. That's just how it works, right?
And the
Here's the
explanation.
thing with the equator, though. If dark absorbs light and white reflects light, wouldn't you want to have whiter skin at the equator so you reflect
No,
more of the?
you wouldn't want to,
You
because
could it would reflect more of the light.
no, it's not about reflecting the light. It's about the protection of the skin.
But don't lighter colors reflect more?
Yeah, yeah, they reflect more, but the thermal energy, right, is hitting that your skin and damaging your capillaries because you don't have too much coloring, right?
It's melanin. But that's beside the point. The point is, though, if you wanted to reflect more of the sunlight, you'd want a lighter color because lighter colors reflect more, right?
Right. Absolutely. And as you heat the lighter color, it will become dark. That's is carbon, right? That's a byproduct. That's why we have that melanin is carbon. That's what it is.
Yeah, thank you for answering my question on races. I'd like you to go to Harvard's web. Well, you know what? I can post the link on Harvard's website. They state there's zero basis in biology for the idea of race. It's a complete social construct. What it really is ethnicity. So that's why I wanted you to share your opinion, because there's a lot of scientists that they're now on board. It's the consensus that the idea of a race is a complete social construct.
Well, but it is a social construct, and so is ethnicity. They're all social constructs. It's just ways for us to delineate.
Okay, yeah. And my
You
perfect
you
example
you
of one
you you,
race,
you want to say
my perfect
you want to
example
say
of
there,
one race.
yeah.
Oh,
You
go ahead.
you like you see people from Asia, right? They look differently, right? So you want to call them Eskimos, you want to call them Hawaiian, Southern Pacific Hawaiian, whatever. They just look different. You want to give them a different delineation, right?
Yeah,
It is-
yeah. Unfortunately, for a long time, people associated specific characteristics to these quote unquote races, and that's the one thing that has led to the harm of so many countless people, even today. The lie or idea that one race is superior over another, even though there's zero basis in biology for the idea of a race. The evidence is clear. You can take anyone from any two parts of the world, Afghanistan and Zimbabwe, they could marry and have children, right? So
Yeah, but
the,
races can interbreed, right? I'm not I'm not advocating for racism here, just so we're clear, but I think things within the same race can breed with each other, right?
oh yeah, if they are the same race, yeah, and that's what the Bible states.
Well, no,
It's
isn't there a difference between different species, and you can still have different races within the same species? But as long as it's within the same species, you can still make kids and hybrids of different races and stuff.
Yeah, I think at some point the difference between the two makes them incompatible to procreate. But yes, you raise a great point. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think when we can't reproduce anymore, we call it a different species, I believe. But yeah, this is just semantics. We all get the same point here, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
What would happen if you took all the smartest people, right? All the smartest people on Earth, and like had them donate eggs and sperm, and then made the babies, right? And then you raise them like Arnold Schwarzenegger and twins, right? Give them the lab, the computers, all the best stuff, and then you could like have like a superior race or some shit like that.
That's how I was born. Thank you for the backstory.
Yeah, basically you are influencing their environment, and therefore their bodies and mentality will adjust for that environment. So if you put a nerd, for example, a child who is going to have the propensity to be quote unquote a nerd or very very smart, if you grow them up in a gym, right, they're going to develop muscle tone and stuff like that, and it's going to change their perspective. That's
Yeah, I
just
don't think it's
natural.
like 100% though that if you breed
It's not
two
100%.
smart people, you'll end up with a smart person. But I think you are more likely though.
Yeah,
There's a lot of factors that go into it.
right.
I would
But
like to see. I would like to see inherent memory written right into DNA. Like, wouldn't that be nuts if you could just access your ancestors' memories?
Yeah, there's a few people who have photographic memories right now. I think there's only like maybe 5 that I saw, maybe less than that.
Now, photographic is awesome. I'm talking about shit you never seen before. Memories, like you
But
can remember
isn't
other
there
people's memories in your like ancestral line and shit. You know what I'm
right?
saying?
I could be wrong. Isn't that like I don't know if it's proven or not, but isn't there something with like genetic memory of certain like phonetics, like certain tunes that a society of ancestors would have heard would somehow feel nostalgic to you because of like some genetic recognition or whatever? That would be like touching on that if that's true.
Yeah.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, like
That sounds neat.
we somehow are feel that resonance or are felt by it in maybe a positive way. Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is slow the telomeres down. Get us living to like 300-400. You know what I'm saying? If you got a Tesla around for 300-400 years, capable.
Great point, Jeremy. Have you heard of Dr. Bruce Lipton, PhD? He was one of the pioneers in STEM research, if I'm not mistaken. He talks about the biology of belief, and he used that example. He was showing how some women, there was some singing group, and they all had a very strong belief that they don't age, or if they do age, it's extremely slow. And they showed them all in their 70s, and they look really young. And he tries to get into the mechanism on
That could be a straight up mind over matter thing, dude. Like the placebo effect or something like that. Like that could, dude. The mind over matter thing. I don't think there's a cap on that. If we get so good at that, we may not have to eat, breathe, sleep, we may not have to do anything.
Dude, I think that's why we even dream and imagine of things like teleportation, flight. Like we want to fly in our dreams. We develop things, ways to fly and shit. I fully believe our brain doesn't waste resources on just wasteful imagination. When our brain takes up that much power, it's probably always pattern seeking for future adaptations.
Right.
Yeah.
It's these abstracts. But remember, you have a frontal lobe that is just that's doing reasoning, right? So even though there's abstracts in your dreams, your frontal lobe can say, "Hey, this might be possible." That is what that is what advanced humans. That's the behavior that we have. Also the stress is what kind of ages us or gets us sick a lot. So it shortens the telomeres. So that's why we have to lower our stress levels, right? So if you study these different groups of folks that live long and so on and so forth, so check
Hold
their
on, you're
stress level.
saying stress will stop the telomere thing
Yeah,
happening?
yeah, it will shorten them absolutely.
Where'd you hear? Who told you that?
That's great biology right there. You can look it up.
I know, but how do you know that?
Yeah, we can pull some papers.
Are you like very stressed or something? You seem to get very worried about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he seems like he's worried. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
you're
well, no,
stressing it too
that's
hard, man.
huge. Well, that's a huge piece of information. If that's true,
I think I've heard about it as well, to be fair.
you could possibly stop it by reaching a higher level of consciousness or something. You know what I'm saying? It's stoppable then if it's just
Sitting
stress.
in the
I mean, there's got
forest,
to
yeah,
be
smoking
something
on it.
else.
I mean, that's part of Kundalini yoga. I mean, there's
There's got to be
each
more
chakra
involved than
is
just
associated with this, and stress is like the base chakra.
yeah, but there's got to be more than just stress. I'm saying there's got to be like something to
Oh
go
yeah,
with
no,
it.
there's definitely more things in the environment. I'm just saying stress is one of the things that can shorten your telomeres. It doesn't do it all the time in everyone. Some people, biology have ways to resist certain things, right? So it's just that it happens. Stress does shorten telomeres a lot in in most people. That's what I'm saying.
Right, you're not saying it's only stress.
Right. I'm not saying it's only stress. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, the sun. There's different things that will cause telomeres for sure.
The stress hormone is cortisol.
Dude, they could relieve everyone's stress on Earth right now if they wanted to.
Yeah, you know who goes into this very well? Dr. Deepak Chopra. He was the dean of medicine at Boston, and he was interviewed by Anthony Robbins, and he got into it. So he says a lot of it has to do with perception. You can take two people, put them on a roller coaster. One person is having the time of his life, right? So his body is literally flooding with very expensive uh, chemicals that are just amazing for the body for health and whatnot. And then you take another person who's having an incredibly fearful experience. He's flooding his body with cortisol. So a lot of it has to do with perception for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard that.
Hello, Robert V. Utah. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well, brother.
Robert V. Utah is my favorite glober in the world.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, I get that a lot.
He's kind of a fake truth seeker, though. Like, he acts like he's seeking truth, but he doesn't really seek it.
Oh, what?
He's probably
I never.
he's probably a lot of our guys' favorite glober. Like, you know how like if you're a lion, you're gonna try to get like there's like a sickly gazelle or like a weak gazelle out of the pack. Like you're gonna go for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I presented some of the most challenge for flat earthers recently. Yep.
Yeah, he keeps getting banned from the Flat Earth channel in politics because he keeps disproving them and they get angry.
Yeah, they get really, really
I
mad.
haven't seen him disprove anything yet. What do you got?
Well, the one that really is bothering them right now is the circular triangles. They didn't know that circular triangles exist.
Talking about a spherical triangle?
Circular triangles.
I never heard of it. I heard of a
Yeah,
spherical triangle.
yeah, there's circular triangles.
What's a circular triangle?
That means the edges are arcs.
Yeah. Is it like a
You
spherical
know,
triangle?
yeah,
This is
like
why
if you
you're
have a.
people's favorite glober, because you really don't like.
Mhm.
Is this
And
a spherical
so,
triangle?
how
Yeah,
does
yeah.
that prove globe Earth?
Well. Check this out. Like your cap, the cap on your head. That's a spherical triangle. If you notice, it's curved, right?
Is that what you're calling
Oh,
a circular triangle, a spherical triangle?
a circular triangle.
Is that a spherical? Is that the same thing as a spherical triangle?
No, there's no
Okay,
such
you're
thing
gonna
as a
have to
spherical.
describe it.
There's no such thing as a spherical triangle. It is a circular triangle.
I never heard of
Um,
a circular. Or is
okay.
that in spherical geometry?
It is in geometry. Yes,
Is
Euclidean
it
geometry. So
this
if
is
you look at,
Euclidean? Hold on, this is Euclidean.
yeah, man. So if
Oh, all right.
you know how an hourglass looks. If you split
Hold
an
on, you're telling me
hourglass,
Euclid had circular triangles?
yeah, absolutely, the circular
Was that in
triangles.
his book? Was that in his book?
I don't know if it was in his book, but it's studied in on the Euclidean triangle.
Oh, look. So you don't know if it was in his book or not?
I don't know, no. But
That's
but
probably
when
not because he defined it. I never heard of a circular triangle, but how's it go? What do you do?
so circle, like for example, if you have three circles, right, and they all intersect, right, like Venn diagram, that
Okay.
place where they intersect is
Yep.
a circular triangle, and you can find the area of that, right? You see,
Hold on. Hold on a second. The area that they're all covering, that area is this called the circular triangle?
that area where they all intersect. If you were to take that area out, right, and set it so on another piece of paper, it will have curved edges, three curved edges,
And
because it
they
was
call that the real name for that is called a circular triangle.
yeah, it's actually called a rulo, a rulo. Look it up. R
What is a
I
rulo?
Rieuleux, something like that. Rulo,
Oh, it's just you're talking about spherical triangles, bro. That's a
circular.
spherical triangle, not circular. It's well, I mean, you'd call it circular if you want, but it's the same thing as a spherical triangle. It's spherical geometry done on the surface of a sphere. It's a triangle on the surface of a sphere.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I guess you could call it that, but the spherical piece is more links to a sphere, but it's called circular triangle in geometry.
I don't. You're saying that's Euclidean and not spherical? I don't know, bro.
It
I'd
is
have
it
to.
is circular
Do you have a
triangle.
wiki page? Do you have a wiki page on it? I'm gonna Google it in a second. Hold on.
Yeah, man, Google it, man. Look up
Carry on. Yeah,
the
circular
triangle.
triangle. I'm all
Yeah,
over it.
yeah, man.
I love
Absolutely.
geometry. I love geometry.
Right. So the reason why I brought that up is because I keep getting shut down when talking about angles and like for example when Eratosthenes was measuring things, and they keep saying, hey, well, he used angles, right? And angles are in triangles, right? And what do triangles have? Straight edges. And I said, no, guys, that's not relevant. And back and forth, they ban me, right? Because I'm trying to make a point that it's not about the sides of the triangle, because the sides of the triangle can also be curved. That's what I was trying to drive them towards. So
Yeah, but
I
this
so
would only be useful for you if you were talking about a spherical triangle and spherical geometry. This
right, yeah, yeah,
this three circles thing doesn't relate to a proving a
right.
shape or anything.
But what I'm trying to get out of flat earthers' minds is this straight edge triangle. It's like immediately when you say triangle, they're like, oh, boom, there you have it. The earth is flat. It measures straight and flat, horizontal. So I'm trying to get that out of their mind that when you hear the word triangle, stop thinking straight edges. And
Okay,
then
I know. I
after
believe in
that,
this. I believe
right,
spherical triangles exist, but now what? So now what?
circular triangles do exist. So yeah,
Circular, spherical, all that. Yeah, but now
right.
what? What's then?
So
How does this tie in, if anything,
in
relevant?
okay, very easily. So if you have a sphere, right, you can draw a triangle on a sphere. It's going to look
It'll
circular.
be called a spherical triangle. Yep. Now that's what I'm talking about. I don't know what the circular triangle is for. That's neat that we all just learned that, but it's a spherical triangle is the one you want.
No, we want circular triangle.
No, circular triangle doesn't help you. That's done on a plane. You want
Yeah,
a
yeah,
spherical triangle.
I know, but the edges are curved.
Yeah, but they're not curved in the way you're thinking about them. In the circular triangle, they're curved on a 2D plane. You're looking for curved on a 3D axis. They have to curve into the 3D.
I'm with you, Jeremy.
No, if you draw them on the sides of a sphere, you have circular triangles. That's what you have.
No, you have a spherical triangle because it's on the surface of a sphere. It's not curving the same way. You have two different curves going on. Listen, when you have I just looked it up. When you have a circular triangle, they're curved in a plane. This is a 2D thing they got going on with the circular triangles, right?
I think what Robert is saying is that if you make a triangle on a globe and then you flatten the height part of it, it appears to be a circular triangle. Is that correct?
Exactly. If you start at the North Pole and walk south, you're curving an edge.
Yeah. Okay, this is
And
the
then
spherical triangle
and then
argument.
if
Fine,
you
but
get
what about it though?
and then if you when you get to the equator and you walk along the equator, you have another curved edge,
That's called
right?
a spherical triangle. Yes, we'll forget that. We'll forget about the circular triangle for now. For now, because that's not really relevant for this. This is called the spherical triangle. But what about it though? Now what?
No, it's a circular triangle. You're walking in a straight
I can't go
line.
on.
Okay, and
You
if you
can,
walk
you can. I just can't. Like it's called a spherical triangle. That's just the name
Yeah.
of it. The thing you're trying
Please
to
go.
explain right now.
Yeah, Robert, get to the next step, please. Thank you.
well,
Yeah,
it's
I'm willing
called
to just move on. Like,
it
let's
would
just move on and go to the next step because we
right
all know
the
what you're
next
talking about.
right the next step would be if you were to draw that circular triangle on the side of a sphere. Yeah, if you cut it out, you have something that looks three-dimensional. But I'm not talking about that three-dimensional thing. I'm talking about simply going along the sides of the sphere. That's a line that you're drawing, but it's going to be curved, right? So we're not talking about taking out about a piece of the sphere. We're just drawing a triangle on a
Yeah,
sphere,
it's
and
called
it's going
spherical geometry. It's the shapes on a 2D on the surface of a 2D sphere, which
right.
spheres aren't 2D. That's a whole nother story,
It,
though.
what it definitely is spherical geometry we're talking about, but
I
circular
know.
triangles, right, is part of spherical geometry. They're not spherical triangles. Is part of spherical geometry.
Are
You
the
understand me?
circular triangle? Are the circular triangles? Are those circles drawn on a plane?
They can be drawn on the sides of a sphere. So so so
Okay.
so if you have
Okay.
a
We have the
ball,
sphere. We understand spherical geometry, spherical triangles. But what
Yeah.
is the next
Next
step, my man?
next
Please.
step, please, Robert. Please.
Yeah. Let's just get over it. Get this over with.
right. So remember, my motivation was to get the straight line concept out of the minds of flat earthers because
Okay.
they keep shutting me down every time
Okay.
I
We heard
mention
that part. We heard that
right.
part. What's the
So so
next step? Don't
so
go. Don't take us back 5 steps.
right. No. That was kind of like the whole thing. Okay. So the next step would be you're getting the when Aristophanes is doing his experiment, he's looking at angles to get the circumference, the radius of the planet, right? So when he gets the radius of the planet, he can now calculate the circumference of the Earth, and that is how
Okay.
he knows the Earth is a sphere.
Okay. So you're trying to do geometry on the sky. I went through this with Morpheus the other day, and pretty much all you guys. You can't do geometry on the sky because you have this thing called refraction, and it's always at play unless you're directly 90 degrees, which the Eratosthenes thing is. There's more to it than just being directly 90 degrees. So you're dealing with apparent positions to the thing. Like you can't do geometry on the sky. I have
Yeah.
multiple ways to show that you can't do geometry in the sky. One of them is called the Solenoid eclipse. It's called the impossible eclipse, nicknamed that by the mainstream people, not us. It's called the impossible eclipse because it's geometrically impossible.
That's right,
No.
Jeremy. And even if we grant them their position, it's still only a suggestion. It's not actual visual confirmation of the Earth, right? It's just a suggestion.
I mean, I don't know why we went through the whole spherical triangle thing to go to Eratosthenes, but Eratosthenes doesn't really do anything. We've actually made it work on a flat surface. Dr. Zach did it. He did Eratosthenes on a flat surface, but he put a lens in front of the light. He did it on a table.
No, okay. The
Oh, there's
issue
that.
the issue with doing Eratosthenes' experiment on a flat surface is that, remember, your sun has to be increasing in size as it travels through the sky because your sun
No,
is
he used
moving.
he made
Right.
all the shadows. He made all the Eratosthenes shadows work on a flat plane by putting a lens in front of the light source.
Yeah, but the point that is being missed is the sun did not go from small to big. The sun was always big. So
You
you
don't
have
have
to
to
look
move.
at
The sun doesn't move in this. You don't even have to move the sun.
I know, but what the point that we're driving home here, there's two things. The math he did to calculate the circumference, but the other point is that the sun is not changing significant size throughout the sky.
Okay, that's a
You,
whole
Are you
nother
talking?
argument. The sun not changing angular size is a whole nother argument. We can move on to that.
I
Before we
know.
put this, we're going to put this to bed, though. He made Eratosthenes work on a flat plane by putting a lens in front of the light, so it can work on a curved surface or it can work on a flat surface. You have nothing with Eratosthenes. We can move
Right.
on to the angular size change now if you want.
Yeah. Right. Right. And it's important to note that Eratosthenes was not working in a vacuum. You have to understand that there were already observations made that says the Earth is a sphere. His mission was to calculate it. That's all.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
and
Jeremy, can
we've
I
shown
ask a
that you can.
question?
We've shown,
I
yeah, right after
I
this,
turned my
right after
headphone
this.
off and everything. I just wanted to ask a question, Jeremy.
Okay, Rob.
Do you think it would be possible for us today in 2025 to reproduce the Eratosthenes observation?
Oh, sixth graders do it all the time. Like my
I was
daughter was in
asking
sixth grade.
Jeremy. Thanks, guy.
I know. But I was just letting you know.
Yeah, it's possible to do today. Yes, and it's possible to do it
Then why
on
do we
Earth.
keep bringing it up as Eratosthenes? Why don't we just do
It's
it and
it's like
explain to people we have to assume that the sun is far away?
It's like if you do a double slit experiment, there's multiple ways to do a double slit, and that's just what it's called. You know what I'm saying? There's multiple ways to do different experiments, but they generally will call them you do a Foucault pendulum, and it's different weights and lengths. That's not the point. The point is, we've done Eratosthenes on a flat surface by putting a lens in front of the sun. You have nothing with Eratosthenes because we already know it can work on a flat surface. So you
That's
want to move
good.
on to
Thanks,
the
Jeremy.
angular size change of the sun, or did you want to stay on the Eratosthenes thing because
No, we should move on.
you really don't have anything there. So
Yeah. There's a flat Earth explanation that's really solid. But Jeremy, you know what happened with me and McToon? I actually had an interaction with him initially. I asked him on Jeranism to post the very first video of Earth from the moon, and he couldn't do it during his stream, so he invited me to his after show personally, and he said he would play it. So I went there. I waited 45 minutes, which was so annoying. So I kept tagging him. I'm like, McToon, you said you invited me over here. Are you going to play this video or not? And interestingly enough, the video he played was pretty shocking. It was the same video from the climax. A funny thing happened on the way to the moon. And then the very next day, that video went unlisted. So you can go to McToon's live and you won't find this video. Secondly, recently, I've been debating the angular size change with experts, people who take solar pictures of the sun. I've actually taken their own source images and put it on my own computer and analyzed them myself and found the change. And I asked these guys because a lot of them will say, "Oh, the sun doesn't change size," but then when you press them into the details, it absolutely changes size objectively because they're rotating away from the sun at least 6,000 miles according to the math, right? As they're on the surface of the Earth and they're rotating away. So I asked Robert. I have a question for you, Robert. Have
the
you
sun is
taken?
supposed to in the
Oh,
globe model that their sun is supposed to change. You
yeah,
can go right after
absolutely.
me, but
Oh, yeah.
go
And
right
then what
after me.
happened
But
was I was in
oh,
McToon's. Oh,
real quick,
sorry.
in their model, the sun is supposed to change from sunrise to sunset. I think it's like 3/10 of or 7/10 of an arc second or something throughout the course of one day. So, but carry
Yeah.
on with whatever you were gonna have.
Thank you. So I was in McToon's chat recently, and then I had his mod agree with me that the angular size does change for both flat Earth and the sun. And then, bam, I was blocked from McToon, blocked in his channel. But yeah. So I have a question for you, Robert, if you're still listening. Have you taken any photos yourself from anyone that's taken solar pictures of the sun at
He
dawn?
left this channel.
Oh, okay. Thank you, guys.
What happened?
Well, I was going to ask him if he's personally analyzed or taken pictures of the sun at dawn and high noon and then made a comparison. But yeah, he left. So. But yeah, McToon blocked me for that after he noticed the mod agreed with me.
The thing
know what?
about Robert's argument is he has to demonstrate that the triangle is curving. He's just asserting that it curves without actually demonstrating that. So
They don't have a single measurement of any spherical triangles, though. That's the thing. I got Larry GPS Shoebill. I had him on this a while ago. He spent 6 months or a year or 2 years now. It's been a while, and he can't find it. Like that 900-page arc of the parallel North American transatlantic, whatever. They got a lot of averages and stuff in there. They don't have any actual measurements, though. They do a lot of weighted means and a lot of math and stuff. I just want the raw data, which isn't unreasonable to ask for when we're talking about science. Like, where's the data? You know what I mean?
Right.
And they can't produce a single one, just one spherical triangle. They do not have a measurement of one.
That's pretty revealing. A lot of red flags for the globe for sure. Like after $1 trillion, we don't even have one uncut video from Earth to space showing the sphere. And we've had 3 countries land on the moon supposedly, right? India, China, US. And after $1 trillion, not even one video. Supposedly, we only have to get 19,000 miles away from the surface to show the sphere.
They don't really have much of anything. All their arguments are just super flimsy. It's brutal. The amount of time we've spent on the spherical excess documents and it's like you don't even have a measurement to even lead with. So I don't know why we're going over this document. We've spent months going over that document. The transatlantic continental something. It was like 900 pages. My computer couldn't even load it. It's ridiculous. And there's not a single measurement in there of just one single spherical triangle. They don't really have a measurement of anything because we know refraction's happening, and now you got to show a measurement of which way the light's bending. So you'll ask for, oh, do you have a measurement of which way the light's bending? And they'll give you measurements of tons of other stuff. They'll give you a measurement of how tall the lighthouse was or what the temperature, pressure, and humidity was, but they'll never actually give you a measurement of the light bending.
Interesting. I did hear that conversation the other day. Yeah, I didn't hear them present any evidence.
They don't have anything. They have not. The globe has like nothing.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of ideas on how stuff might work.
Yeah. Lots of suggestions. Bad thing is it's actually
They got Jeranism now, so they got that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad Austin is still questioning and looking into it.
I ain't seen Witz in a minute.
Yeah. I think him being or exploring Christianity had a big impact on that.
I ain't seen Witz in a minute, bro.
Yeah.
Usually comes through on a regular. Probably been busy. Got the kids.
Yeah, definitely.
It never ends with the kids.
Yeah. He deserves a nice little break anyways, because I know there's a lot of negativity even just talking from the Globe Defenders behind his back. So it's just wild. There's literally Austin derangement syndrome going on. I've seen it.
I mean, even a lot of our peoples went, not a lot. I mean, no, I wouldn't even say a lot. Even like some of our own people, though, are going at these guys hard.
Yeah.
That's probably what pushed Jaren over more than anything.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I have no idea, but I would guess it would just be like our people pushing him more than
Yeah.
he found some kind of revealing globe evidence or something. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah. That had a lot to do with it for sure. In my opinion, I started debating whether or not the globe is actually a dangerous belief, and it's kind of entertaining and fun topic because there's a lot of evidence that shows the globe belief is very dangerous. It's pretty much the root of many dangers. Now we have people who are completely doing extreme body modifications, trying to appear as an alien. Have you seen those type of people where they do crazy things to their body, their eyes, their tongue, trying to become an alien? And then we
yeah,
have
but like tattoo their corneas and shit, the
yeah,
white
exactly.
part, whatever that is, who did not crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Lil Uzi Vert had an $11 million jewel surgically implanted in his forehead at one point. I think he had it removed since, but
yeah, yeah, I saw that.
you trying to be Vision from Marvel? Like, you can get your head chopped off running around out there.
You know, the
Well,
first
but
time I saw that gemstone in the head,
This guy's had
Diablo,
11. Oh,
the Diablo
that's from
video game.
Diablo.
Yep.
Dude, Diablo sucks, dude. I like MMORPGs. That just felt like it was like a race. It felt like NASCAR. I was playing like a race game or something. It was racing to that, and it was ridiculous. But no, people are doing some weird stuff. The one guy had Cuban link like braids, like Cuban link gold chains implanted in his head and instead of his hair.
wow, yeah, and this is just the superficial stuff. Now, if you look at the people in the prison system, right? If you look at the psychiatric ward, unfortunately, the majority of them probably, believe in the globe. I know Kent Hovind debated the dangers of evolution, how it led to atheism. So I think there are a lot of dangers to the globe belief. But yeah, if you guys do like video games and you play music,